In 1979, a revolution promised justice, faith, and independence from Western influence. Nearly half a century later, Iran is gripped by protests, economic collapse, and open defiance of its rulers. The currency is crashing, sanctions are tightening, and chants against the supreme leader echo in the streets. Some say the Islamic Republic has entered its final chapter. Others warn it has survived worse. So the question is no longer if Iran will change, but could 2026 be the year the Islamic Republic falls? The protests in Iran have been ongoing since December 28th. They began with shopkeepers in the capital Tehran closing their stores in protest against inflation in the country. This grew into a nationwide wave of protests, with open calls for the fall of the theocratic regime of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The protests that have spread across Iran in recent days are not a sudden eruption, but the result of years of accumulated economic and political pressure. What began in late December with shopkeepers closing their businesses in Tehran's Grand Bazaar has grown into demonstrations in at least 80 cities across all provinces. According to human rights organizations, dozens, if not hundreds, and according to some, thousands of people have been killed during the protests, and many have been arrested. In the run-up to these protests, internet access had been heavily throttled in many areas, making it nearly impossible to share videos or follow the demonstrations live. The Iranian government has shut down the internet of the whole of the country by now. Why is this happening now? The immediate trigger is economic. Over the course of a year, the Iranian currency, the rial, has lost nearly half of its value. Food prices have risen, and for many Iranians, this means empty wallets, mounting debt, and a loss of future prospects. But this economic crisis does not exist in isolation. Years of international sanctions, combined with structural mismanagement and corruption, have hollowed out the economy. The recent Israeli and American attacks on Iran in 2025, the so-called 12-day war, was followed by new sanctions, and these have further deepened the sense of crisis. For many Iranians, it has become clear that both external pressure and internal policy failures contribute to their daily hardships, a reality now cautiously acknowledged by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and President Masoud Pezeshkian. What distinguishes these protests from earlier waves, such as those following the death of Mahsa Amini in 2022, is their pronounced economic character. Still, political slogans quickly emerge, directed against Khamenei and, in some cases, in favor of Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah, who leads opposition efforts from exile in the United States. The protest movement is therefore no longer purely economically driven, but also targets the country's ongoing political repression and the absence of meaningful reforms. Despite the visible anger, fear remains pervasive and deeply ingrained. The harsh repressions following the 2022 protests, which left hundreds dead and tens of thousands arrested, is still fresh in people's minds. Many know that speaking out openly carries risk for themselves and their families. In addition, independent media have little access to Iran. Internet restrictions are frequent and social media is closely monitored. Those who are arrested can expect swift trials, as the judiciary has once again announced. The state's response so far has been ambiguous. Pezeshkian says he wants to allow space for peaceful protest and has announced emergency measures. At the same time, Khamenei and the security services stress that riots caused by terrorists who act for foreign actors will be dealt with harshly. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is the successor of Ruhollah Khomeini, who came to power in 1979. Iran has a long history that begins with the Persian Empire under rulers such as Cyrus the Great and Darius the Great. The empire stretched from Anatolia to the Indus Valley. In the 4th century BCE, Alexander the Great conquered Persia. After a Hellenistic period, Persia became part of the Parthian Empire and later the Byzantine sphere, until Islamic forces came to power in the 7th century. In the centuries that followed, Iran was invaded by the Mongols and fought wars with Russia, although it managed to remain relatively independent from Western powers in the 18th and 19th centuries. It was occupied by the Allies during both world wars. In the 20th century, the Pahlavi dynasty ruled Iran for 50 years. As leader, Reza Pahlavi adopted the title Shah, the Persian word for king. His son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, would become the last Shah of Persia. He maintained close ties with the West, but ruled his country with an iron fist. In 1953, with the help of the CIA and MI6, he overthrew the popular Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, after which his rule became increasingly autocratic. In the 1960s, the Shah announced a white revolution aimed at promoting women's emancipation and introducing universal suffrage. This provoked a fierce backlash from the conservative clergy. During the 1970s, dissatisfaction grew among various segments of Iranian society over the Shah's dictatorial and pro-Western stance. In 1979, this discontent erupted in the Iranian Revolution. Liberal, left-wing, and religious groups joined forces to bring an end to the Shah's regime. Cassette tapes played a crucial role in fueling the revolutionary movement. Through illegally smuggled recordings, protesters were able to listen to speeches by religious leaders such as Ayatollah Khomeini. After the Iranian Revolution, religious leaders established an Islamic Republic, and Khomeini was put forward as Iran's new leader. He implemented conservative Islamic laws. Once again, Iran came under a repressive regime, while its relations with foreign countries deteriorated. The poor relationship between Iran and the United States has its roots in the 1950s, when, as I said before, Washington supported the overthrow of Mohammad Mossadegh. At that time, Iran was of great strategic importance to the United States and Great Britain because of the oil in the Persian Gulf. The Americans were determined to prevent communist movements from gaining influence in Iran and therefore helped restore the Shah to power. During the Iranian Revolution, anger over American interference reached a peak. Protesters burned American flags and chanted slogans such as "Death to America." In the capital, Tehran, Iranians held American embassy personnel hostage for more than a year. In the 1980s, relations deteriorated further during the Iran-Iraq War, sometimes called the First Gulf War, in which the United States supported Iraq. In 1986, a scandal erupted in the United States over American arms shipments to Iran. The proceeds from these weapon sales to their arch-enemy were secretly used by Washington to finance the Contra rebels in Nicaragua. The Iran-Contra affair caused tense moments and falling approval rates of then-President Ronald Reagan. But he ultimately did not have to resign. Later, in 1998, another attempt was made to seek rapprochement. At the 1998 World Cup, Iran and the United States played against each other, but the sense of brotherhood on the field did not last long beyond it. Iranian hostility toward the United States persisted despite efforts to normalize relations. According to the New York Times, US President Donald Trump has been briefed in recent days on options for a military attack on Iran. A final decision has not yet been made, but according to the newspaper, he is seriously considering approving the attack. Trump has been presented with various scenarios. Trump has repeatedly expressed his support for the protesters. He previously said he was ready for action without giving any further details. He said the US was ready to help. Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help, he wrote on his own social media platform, Truth Social. Reuters news agency also reports that US Secretary Rubio and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu discussed the possibility of US action in Iran by telephone. No official statement has been made about the content of the phone call. According to human rights organizations, authorities in various locations in Iran are attempting to violently suppress the protests in the past weeks. At least 42 Iranians have been killed during the demonstrations, one human rights organization reported. But, as said before, it seems the number is much, much higher, running in hundreds or perhaps thousands by the moment this video is released. According to the US-based organization, at least 2,277 protesters have also been arrested. Despite the large-scale internet outage, dozens of videos of protesting crowds are appearing online. Also, outside Iran, demonstrations occur. In London, a protester pulled down the national flag from the Iranian embassy and put up the pre-Islamic Revolution Lion and Sun flag in support of the rallies challenging the Tehran regime. Will the Islamic Republic of Iran come to a definitive end? And if so, will this happen with or without the help of the US? And even if the Ayatollah is toppled, then what? Will there be a democracy? Will there be a dictatorship? Will there be a civil war? One thing is for sure. 2026 won't be a boring year regarding world politics.